So it's usually mentioned on the
On the
report,
mentioned.
and that's because that's the next pertinent question, that when you ask patients to follow up,
Yeah.
some might follow up in the same lab and others might not follow in the same lab. So based on this, do you give them that input that they would?
For following up the patient sometimes, and for to cope with an irate patient as well with
Yeah.
two different labs reports, I draw their attention to the small print that appears at the end of your report, that so and so technology is used. And even if the patient is going somewhere, and following up from there, I tell him or her that the same technology used reports only will be comparable.
This is quite heartening to hear, because most labs face this problem that patients will bring reports from two platforms and ask us to compare those. So, Dr. Fadke, yes, sir?
So how many assays you have changed over last few years?
Initially, we did the RI assay for some years, but now for the last 2 years, we are on the CMI Abbott assay.
Yeah, so I think for all laboratories, it's very important to stick to the same assay, because otherwise you will face a situation that you produced some result previously and now you're
Yes.
having different. So that's an important thing, and if any laboratory changes the assay for whatever reason, at least for a few months, you must put out a sort of small print
yes.
or whatever, big print
Yeah.
to say that.
Yes.
And other thing which really confuses me and many times irritates me is all these 5 different categories.
Yes.
Can anyone tell me what that means?
Yeah. In fact, it's a question open.
Insufficiency, hypovitaminacid. When 10 experts sit in what we call the ivory tower, they have the pressure to actually do this. All the nutrients are more or less normally distributed, and depending on their dietary habits and a whole lot of other factors, there will be some skewness. And then we play that this cut point, that cut point, and our students go mad on that. Then if it is 39 versus 41, the classification is either this or that, and then we make a big thing out of it. I think that really confuses the patients also. And therefore, probably an ideal report will actually show a distribution in that given population and then say where you stand. Now, I was the first one, Dr. Naik is here. Crisis, 1999, the study we did with John Yudkin, it was crisis. It was called coronary risk of insulin sensitivity in Indian subjects. And we studied 440 men between 30 to 50 years from 2 villages near Vadu, 2 slums in Pune, and 2 middle class populations in Pune. These people were apparently healthy. And we measured vitamin D in all of them, we measured vitamin B12, we measured homocysteine, we measured folate, a whole lot of things along with body composition. And what we found was, that was the first time actually I woke up, 80% of people had low vitamin D levels, which is like say usually taken as 50 nanomoles per liter. 80% of people had low B12 levels, which we took as 150 picomoles. 80% of people had high homocysteine levels. Now, if 80% of your population has deranged levels of markers of usual nutrients, then we have to think, okay, what is this? So when Lily showed all these slides, below 40, above 40, Babulkar said this, 80% of the patients going to either Lily or Babulkar is going to have low value. Then Lily is going to say they had allergic problems. Babulkar is going to look only at shoulder. I am going to look at diabetes. And if you look at common cold, pneumonia, whatever, 80% of your patients are going to have low value. Then we tell the patient that we have found a reason for your problem. And all the patients believe in Lily. I mean, she is God to them. So they feel very great. There is a great sense of tender love and care, whatever TLC. So even if she gives him placebo, he is going to feel good. Just coming to Lily, he is going to feel good. Then she is going to prescribe and then ascribe causality. Because I improved vitamin D, this improved, that improved. That is why randomized controlled trials are there.
There, yeah.
I brought 6 December 2013, the new journal, Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology, installed actually a department to do vitamin D meta-analysis. And it's one of the biggest meta-analysis done on a nutrient ever. And what they showed was there are 174 prospective studies which have shown an association between low values and some pathology. The common associations which we know from our childhood are with the skeletal disorders. And that is one situation where causality is very strong. So when Babulkar prescribes it to his patients who come with a skeletal muscular disorder, he is more likely to be correct than a diabetologist who actually measures vitamin D and ascribes causality.
Yes.
And that's why there is not much fight about skeletal muscular disorders. Even there are many intricacies, and like he ascribed a whole lot of things to that, which I would severely contest. Severely.
So can we go to that a little later?
Yeah.
Yeah, sir wanted to say something.
I will just speak before you.
Yes.
See, about your first question, that can be resolved. See, now the particular generation test is used by everyone. Hardly anyone is using RI. So either the test is by CMI or CLI. So microparticle immunoassay, or it is a chemiluminescence immunoassay.
Yeah.
Now the platforms are set. The machinery is set. So only thing everyone has to do is, as she has already shown, they have to run 3 controls: low, medium and high, do their proper CVs, and then they should send sample for IQVIA, which is internationally accepted and which is standardized. It also goes for, as she has shown, they also go for accreditation, and they go for CAP accreditation. So that's a very stringent accreditation. On top of that, locally, between the labs, they should do ILC. These are the 3 standard techniques by which you can reduce the differences between the labs. See, for example, we have compulsorily have to exchange samples with an NABL accredited lab. So we go on doing that with Mumbai Metropolis, if necessary with SRL, if necessary with LAL, routinely with either Dinanath or Ruby Hall or similar lab. So that's what has to be done regularly. Almost our schedules are fixed. They are also signed and authorized by NABL auditors. So we have to show that every 15th day our sample has gone and interlab checks are done. If that is done, your first question is totally answered. So people have now different platforms, different technologies, but they have the same answer. So that's where we are almost reaching, but still there is a controversy whether we are up to the gold standard method, that is LCMS, and whether our results are collaborating with that. Now these trials will eventually answer those remaining queries and other
See,
non-skeletal.
what you are raising is about quality control.
Yeah,
We are raising about clinical significance.
yeah.
And I am going to then say कि if it's clinically not significant, then we should not measure it.